All right, first off, I want to start off by saying, amazing film. Um, all right, first off, I want to start off by saying, Daniel Kaluuya, I think that's how you pronounce his name. Absolutely incredible, incredible actor. I think one of the greatest performances I've ever seen, on film of a black historic figure. And you can debate me later on that, but I think his range of acting to be able to show those um, pretty much those tender moments with his woman, and then all the way to the range of being that fiery leader and embodying Fred Hampton's spirit, absolutely incredible. So that being said, let me get to the critique of the film. Okay, I was a little disappointed. I was a little disappointed by the film because I don't think it gave us enough Fred Hampton. They didn't respect the chairman enough to really dig into his life story. This man was a prodigy. He was 21 years old and he was shaking up the world. He had shook the world already at 21 years old. He was respected in quite possibly the most gang affiliated city in America, in the most lawless country, in the world. Let's don't get it twisted. We can talk about what's going on in third world countries, whatever. United States is one of the most, you know, you know, it's America, man. It's real out here. But he was respected in the streets all the way up to Washington D.C. He was that incredible before the age of 20. This was a prodigy. Why did we not learn more about the story of Fred Hampton? Why do I feel like after 2 hours of watching the film, I know more about the Judas, the rat, the sellout, the turncoat? Why do I feel like I know more about his story than Fred Hampton's? And this is a spoiler alert. The film basically picks up when he was already the man. He was already a living legend. But at the time the film picked up, I needed to get into the childhood of Fred Hampton. What are the inspiration? What inspired him to be so courageous, have so much integrity, have so much character? Did we even meet his parents? Did we see a figure like we saw one scene where he was quoting Malcolm X's speech word for word? Okay. How did Fred Hampton take the death of Malcolm? When was he inspired by Malcolm? Why couldn't we get a scene of him watching Malcolm X on stage or something like that and seeing how that spirit of Malcolm X inspired him to be who he was? What was those moments of defiance that planted the seed of rebellion in him? You see, because like in the film Malcolm X, one of my favorite films of all, quite probably my favorite film of all time, one of the most memorable scenes in here to me is when Malcolm X was a kid and he says to the teacher, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. And the teacher says to him, that's no realistic job for a nigger. No, he said, that's no realistic job for a colored. And he said, you're a nigger and we like you, you know. He said it just so matter of fact. And like he was doing him a favor, like he was putting him on to some game. Like I'm letting you know, listen, you're a nigger, man. So don't try to be, even though there was doctors and lawyers during that time already, but just that planting that seed of oppression, just try to oppress your mind, your thought process, try to control you and steer you away from success. See, but it planted the seed of defiance and rebellion in Malcolm. What planted those seeds in Fred Hampton? What made Fred Fred? We never got to see that in that film. I feel like I learned more about his death than his life. Okay. It didn't even have to be much. It could have been flashbacks, could have been scenes here and there where Fred flashes back to something in his childhood that, you know, where he got the inspiration to overcome such enormous odds and live for the people. And those speeches was incredible. Daniel Kaluuya, man, come on, man. The way he 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 gave life to Fred's speeches. You can kill a revolution, but you can't. No, you can kill a revolutionary, but you can't kill a revolution. Oof, he was incredible. And but partly he was incredible because of the man. Because he had the blueprint. He had Fred Hampton. What was the blueprint? Why did we not know how he became a prodigy? I don't need to know about J. Edgar Hoover. I don't need to know about the snake FBI. I don't need to know necessarily. Show me how they sort of planned and manipulated to assassinate that brother. Yes, okay, fine, show me that. But I shouldn't walk away from the film thinking that you tried to paint the rat as a sympathetic figure. He's not a sympathetic figure. He's a rat. He's a turncoat, and that's what he is. So, I mean, Lakeith Stanfield did just such an amazing job of maybe that's what it was. His acting was so incredible that he was able to embody that duality of because even by the end of the film, and again, another spoiler alert, the rat was conflicted because he was so inspired by the spirit of Fred Hampton that he was like on edge. Like, what do I do? Like, I really love this brother, but I have no integrity. I'm a rat. I can't do the time. I did a crime and I can't do the time. So I'm going to sell him out, get him killed or whatever. So that's the one side of me. But the other side of me knows that this is a beautiful black man that's trying to save us and trying to save me. You know, so, and Lakeith Stanfield embodied every single emotion that one could have. So as an actor, he was incredible. But the man, actually, William O'Neill, the real man, I didn't even know so much about him. Because to me, he's not a sympathetic figure. Fred Hampton is a sympathetic figure. And how you would have been able to create him as that sympathetic hero is telling his childhood, telling his story, telling the full story of what made Fred Fred. And that was my problem with the film. I don't think I watched the film for 2 hours and I don't know more about him than I already knew. I already knew that the feds and the sheriffs and you know that the white quote unquote power structure conspired together to murder that brother. I already knew that. What I wanted to know more about is Fred Hampton. Tell his story. Humanize him and don't make him just a fiery orator, fiery speech maker. No, he was more than that. And we needed they had an obligation to show us more. And they didn't. They missed the mark. It was still a good film. Don't get me wrong. It was a good film. It was entertaining. But it didn't move me in a way that Malcolm X did. Because I think not only is Spike just an incredible filmmaker, but Spike knows how to tell a story, how to really envelop you into a story, like get you so caught up into a story that you lose yourself in those 2 hours. But while I was watching that film, I felt like I was just watching impending doom. Like we knew his death was coming, and from the first scene of the movie, it was just all about his death. But in Malcolm X, he told about his life. He went back to West Indian Archie. He went back to his, you know, his story, his times as, as a street hustler. You know, we knew so much about Malcolm, but I just don't think we know enough about Fred Hampton by the end of that film. So I mean, that's just my rant on the film. Like I said, Daniel Kaluuya, salutes to that brother. Rest in peace to Chairman though, because ultimately it was the chairman who created the blueprint and the inspiration for that performance. Rest in peace. Peace.